Hey guys, how you doing? Dave Moore here. Just wanted to make a video here on Easter. Basically, just kind of want to talk. I'm going to clean my Glock while I'm at it. So this really isn't going to be a cleaning video, but I'm just going to kind of ramble about a few things, whatever comes to my mind. So really, the first thing is weather's changing. It's getting a lot warmer, so I'm going to start dressing a little skimpier, as they say. So ultimately, I kind of put on my just a standard Glock base pads, because the Magpul speed plates I have, every time I would change the base pad, they would break. The little loop would just tear right off the actual base pad. So I went back to these standard ones. That way I can conceal the gun a little easier, since I'm not wearing a sweatshirt, since I'm not wearing a jacket. Also went ahead and I removed my mag well. So I did that kind of because I'm going to Nashville for the NRA annual meeting, and I want to make sure that with my backpack on, everything is not printing real bad. I don't look like an idiot ultimately. But really, I'm just kind of here at the cleaning table. I know part of my head's cut off, but I kind of did that on purpose so that I can clean and you can kind of see what I'm doing. So just kind of want to talk about a few things. One thing is, make sure that you go and you go support MS Clean Kits. They're having their Kickstarter here. It's got about a week left, and they're really close to their goal, and they're coming out with the double, which is twice the size, twice as tall. So you can get a lot more stuff in it, like I've said, and it's just a really good kit. And with the double, it's going to have a lot more purpose, a lot more uses. So go ahead and support. $5, $1, whatever. It doesn't matter. But it'd be really cool to get that campaign rolling. So ultimately, I'm just going to pretty much clean my gun and talk to you at the same time. Now, a few things I did kind of want to talk about. Somebody asked me about holster placement, about outside the waistband holster placement, and what I think about it. Ultimately, I say put the gun in a spot where it's least likely to print. So if you have it right on your hip, directly on your hip, sometimes that grip will stick out from your back and you'll be able to see it. Whereas if you kind of have it a little more forward, i.e. more towards your front pocket, then it will not print. Like when you bend over, the grip won't stick out. But if you have it too close to your pocket, then it kind of turns the gun like this, then the grip pokes out anyway. So you really have to find your sweet spot, so to speak, to where really, oops, what am I doing? The main thing I focus on is kind of, is it comfortable? Is it comfortable? What I mean by that is, can I draw from it quickly, easily, and efficiently? If where it's at on my hip, if I can't draw it properly, well, then there's really no point in having it there, and it's going to be useless. So you need to change it. So it's really kind of user preference. I just kind of prefer to have it to where the corner of it, the front corner, goes about a ½ inch to an inch into my front pocket. Now that varies with different types of jeans, pants, whatever, but ultimately that's kind of what I look for. And it's not an end-all be-all. I mean, you can really put it wherever, but you just kind of have to find a spot where it's really comfortable for you to draw from that position. Because if it's not comfortable for you, then, like I said, there's really no point in having it there, right? So that's kind of really that. You just gotta toggle around with it a bit, kind of feel it out, and see where it works the best. Where I keep it might not be the best spot for everybody else, so you might want to change it up. But a real important thing on that is dry practicing. You want to make sure you're dry practicing enough to where you can really figure out where exactly you want it, where exactly that holster needs to rest on your hip, because you can't figure it out by just me answering the question. You kind of have to just try it out for yourself. And you know, as a lot of you know, I'm a big advocate of dry practice. Matter of fact, I took a course recently, like I said, and one of the guys wasn't as endowed, let's say, with a handgun as I was. He's new to carrying a handgun, and he wasn't really sure, but he took the class to learn, which is why you take a class. So, you know, if you have any questions, or if you're ever wondering, you know, this or that, or one thing I've been hearing lately is a lot of people don't think that they're good enough to go to a class, and I think that kind of comes from people really feel inadequate. That was blood off my gun. They think that every class is like a Chris Costa class, and that if they want to do good in the class, they need to be at a certain level, like Costa, and they need to be, you know, high speed, tier 1 operator, you know, dude, whatever, you know, whatever you want to phrase it as. But the reality is, you know, those people are the ones who need to go to a class to learn, because how else are you going to learn? And I think a lot of that just comes from people watching too much YouTube and too much training DVDs, because, I mean, how are you ever not good enough to train? It just kind of doesn't make sense to me. So I kind of see where it's coming from, and even though I have a YouTube channel, you need to go and get some more hands-on training, because you can't learn everything on YouTube. You can't learn everything on, you know, getting the Magpul DVDs or getting, you know, Haley Strategic DVDs and whatnot. You just really can't learn everything. You're not getting the hands-on. You might get the general concept, but there's no one there showing you right and wrong ultimately. So you might think you're doing it right, but you're not. So then you go into dry practice and you're dry practicing wrong the whole time. And I mean, I can definitely see that kind of happening. So really, that was kind of a tangent. I'm really not sure what I was talking about, to be honest with you. But yeah, like a lot of people just think that they're not good enough to take a class, and you know, that's bullshit. Everybody's good enough to take a class. Now, yeah, there are certain classes. For instance, if you're going to go to a tactical response and take the high-risk civilian contractor class, and you've never shot a gun except for in your concealed carry class, yeah, that is going to be a little too advanced for you, and I would recommend you not take that class. But that's the exception. Most of the local handgun classes are focusing on a certain teaching style, i.e., you know, combat-focused shooting, or like James Yeager's style, etc. And those are not high-risk civilian, you know, contractor classes. And trust me, if the course is a high-risk course like that, it will tell you the requirements. So if you're really nervous or you're concerned, read the course description, read the requirements, because he'll tell you. Like, I'm pretty sure in James Yeager's high-risk civilian contractor course, you know, it says, hey, you need to be fucking good with a gun, because we're doing teamwork here, we're doing some moving around and such, and if you're not efficient with your gun, then you're going to get yourself or someone else killed. Hold on a second. So, yeah, that whole thought of, well, I'm not good enough to take a class is bullshit. So get over that and get out and take a class. You know, I just took that class, and was I one of the more advanced people in the class? Yes. Have I done those same drills before as in that class? Yes. I did a lot of the same stuff on my own when I train. Difference is, when I'm on my own training, I'm the one that's doing everything, i.e. I'm the one that's deciding, you know, what drill we're going to do. I'm the one that's kind of putting us through it. And what ends up happening is I'm not watching myself. I might end up watching, you know, the guy I'm shooting with, or I might just, you know, just do the drill and just kind of worry about what I did. But the reality is that's not helping me much, because I don't know if I'm doing it right or wrong. And I found when I go with my training partner, there's a lot of awkward downtime because we're just trying to figure out what we want to do. So even though, and I say this kind of not in a negative way, I'm not saying that I'm fucking Mr. Awesome, but I have done a lot of the same drills that we did in that course. But having another person kind of guiding it helped me get more out of it. Like I said, yeah, I had already done a lot of it, but that didn't matter, because when somebody else is doing it, he's the one watching me, and I'm not having to, you know, to trick myself into thinking that I was awesome when I wasn't. So he was there to kind of call me out. And another thing really we kind of talked about, and me and the instructor talked about a little bit, was being an advanced shooter and what that really means. To a lot of you, an advanced shooter is, you know, Chris Costa, Travis Haley, Patrick McNamara, you know, whatever he says, blast offs. And that dude's awesome, by the way. But a lot of people think, you know, being an advanced shooter is them. Well, yeah, they're advanced shooters, but there's more to being an advanced shooter. And what being an advanced shooter ultimately comes down to is just being, you know, proficient with the basics. So, like Haley says, amateurs train to get it right, professionals train until they get it wrong, which is true, because you take the basics and you work on those. You perfect them, and you become, you know, really good with the basics. Well, now what are you doing? You're drawing, you're shooting, you're aiming, and you're getting, you know, all of your shots faster, quicker, faster, and tighter groups. Well, you're becoming more advanced. Then once you do that faster and faster and faster, once you can make the basics, the basic skills of shooting, the fundamentals, your bitch, then that is an advanced shooter. And I don't really think that anybody would ever classify themselves as an advanced shooter, because we're all learning all the time. So one thing you kind of got to understand is being an advanced shooter really just means that you're just better at the basics than a normal person per se. So being an advanced shooter really is nothing more than just perfecting the basics. I mean, if you played baseball ever, when you're a kid, you hit the ball decent sometimes, you'd miss the ball. You might swing the bat and, you know, your eyes come off the ball. So the basics are keep your eye on the ball, right? Well, once you moved up into travel ball, high school, you started getting more hits. You started, you know, hitting further. You started striking out less, let's say. Now, what is that? You're still doing the basics, but you're doing them more proficiently. Now, you're not a professional by any means. To be a professional means that you're being paid to do it. So ultimately, be a professional shooter, you'd have to be a, you know, shooter who is competing and getting paid to compete, in my eyes. Now, yeah, there are the exceptions, but being an advanced shooter is nothing more than just doing the basics more better, you know. So that's really it. It's just doing the basics more efficiently and to a higher standard, because all shooting strives off the basics. You can be now, yeah, there's a lot of mindset in it. You know, like in self-defense, if you've been overseas and you're getting shot at all the time, you're used to that. Well, then when that bullet cracks by your head, it is easier to do those basics. That draw, that sight acquisition, trigger press, etc. It's easier to do that because, you know, that stress, you've learned to deal with that stress. Now, yeah, self-defense, there is stress involved, all that, whatever, but I'm not talking about that. I'm not a self-defense instructor. It's just really the basics. So, whether you're in, I loathe to say this, but whether you're in combat, you're a cop, you're a civilian, shooting the gun is shooting the gun. It's the same, you know, manual of arms. It's, you know, draw, sight acquisition, lining up your sights, trigger press, all that. That's, I mean, that's all it really comes down to. So, being advanced just means that you can do it mo better than your average person. And you've just perfected the fundamentals, right? So, that's really enough about that. It's kind of just rambling on my part, and I apologize for that. But I just kind of want to talk about it because I think it's important that, you know, people don't get down in the dumps going to take a class. You know, if you go to the range and you shoot and you have, not even that really, just if you're a person with a gun, you should be going to classes. They're fun. I mean, they're fun. It's good training. What do you do at the range anyway? You go and you shoot all this ammo up. Well, instead of wasting all that ammo, take a class and utilize that ammo to its max, you know. Just go and pew 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 all day for hours and hours. So, I just kind of want to talk about that. Right now I'm actually rubbing down all the parts with alcohol because I like to use alcohol when I use fire clean because that way it dries them all out. It cleans them up real nice, dries them out, and it's just a good way to make sure that you're not over lubing it, even though you really can over lube it, and it really isn't going to do a whole lot of negative. But just in case, go ahead and swallow my barrel real quick. Yeah, when I swallow my barrel, I just go in and out, in and out. You know why? Because all these people who talk about you need to swab the barrel from the breech out, you know, you have to follow the same bullet path. Well, look, let me rephrase it. People who spout off all this stuff and say, you know, it makes the gun stay more accurate, or, you know, also the people who say that Glocks aren't accurate, that SIGs are the most accurate, 1911s are the most accurate, you can't get accuracy out of a Glock, it's got a bad MOA and all this. Well, look at the facts. Most guns, and Glocks are included, are more accurate than the shooter will ever be. So quit bitching about accuracy in a handgun. Jesus Christ. I mean, seriously. The gun is going to be more accurate than you will ever be, so, you know, quit saying the gun's not accurate, because really what it's telling me is when you're shooting a Glock, you just suck at shooting. You can't shoot for shit, so you blame the gun. Well, it ain't the gun. Trust me. I have hit many a target out at 100, 200 yards with a Glock, ping and steel, no problem. So, it ain't the gun. If you're bitching about accuracy, it's you. That's really all there is to it. Let the butt hurt begin. Because I mean that. Yeah, there are certain guns, of course, that just aren't accurate, you know, whatever. I guess high points would be in there. Never shot one, so I can't tell you, but I've seen them shot, and people could still hit stuff with it. So anyone who blames the gun for accuracy, it is not the gun. It is them. It's kind of like the people who always bitch and say, well, I want this good rifle because it'll last a bazillion rounds, and I need it to last a bazillion rounds, yada yada yada. Those people who bitch about reliability and complain that the rifle won't last for a bazillion rounds and that they need this heavy barrel for that reason and all that, well, those people will never shoot enough to where that is ever a problem. I mean, that's what I found. People who complain about a certain thing, accuracy, you know, let's say, they're just not that great of a shot, so they blame the gun, which, I mean, whatever. You gotta do what you gotta do, but I tend to take responsibility for myself, and if I fuck up on something, I say, oh, yeah, that was me. Fucked up on that one. You know, for instance, if I pull a shot like at the class, I made a bad shot. Instructor say, "Oh, what the fuck was that, Dave?" Ah, I jerked the trigger. I felt it and I jerked the trigger. That was me. Whatever. Oh, okay. And now I know, hey, fix that problem. But I'm never gonna blame the gun unless it's just an obvious problem with the gun. But I've shot many brands of guns and I can shoot them just as good. As long as you get the fundamentals right and you're shooting it properly, then ain't gonna be no problem. No problem at all. So this is kind of a rambling video. I don't expect it to be too popular, to be honest with you, but hey, whatever. I was bored, figured I would make a video, so here I am. Take a vape. Vape. I guess what I'm really trying to say is stay away from the fucking forums, man. Don't get advice from forums. The only forum that I would probably advise going to is Get Off the X. And that's James Yeager's forum. But I was on there. I don't post, but I was on there reading up, and they're still the same, you know, bullshit talk. People putting each other down. But I kind of feel that they all kind of know each other, and it's kind of just friendly banter. But I don't know. Forums, man, there's some good information on them, and there's some just fucking garbage information. A lot of it is just fucking garbage, and it's just you know, well, where do you go for good information? You go to a gun shop, and what do? They treat you like fucking shit. Holy shit, man. Some gun shops, I mean, there's a gun shop around here in Ohio, I'm not going to name it, but you go in there and it's like, I'm sorry I came in, I'm sorry that I have a face and a question, because they just fucking hate you. I mean, it's bad. It's so bad that when you mention that gun shop's name to other gun shops, they all nod and go, oh yeah. And I'm not saying that's the only one, because it's not the only one. That gun shop mentality, man, is fucking bad. Some people just, you know, it's the stereotype. You know, the whole gun shop stereotype, or the whole gun attitude stereotype, it's not a stereotype, it's true, because they fucking go to a gun shop and see what happens. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's amazing that they even sell anything, but people still go in there and buy stuff. And I don't really see why. Because they're fucking assholes. But you'll have that, I guess. You will have that. So they're kind of putting it back together now. At least the trigger assembly, trigger housing. It is going to be a long video. I did an instructional video on cleaning, and I kind of wanted to do another one, but then I realized how long that other one was. And for you guys who actually like my personality and like hearing me talk, kind of like myself, you might like this, like hearing what I'm saying. But for those of you looking to learn something, really what I'm doing cleaning here, you're not going to learn a whole lot because I'm really not explaining it. But cleaning is cleaning. There's only so much you can really do. Only so many ways to do it. Like, you know, if you watch a Hickok 45 cleaning video, he uses ballistol, and I've never even used that, so I'm not going to rag on that. But I heard it smells like fucking garbage. So I just use fire clean and some alcohol. I use alcohol to dry everything out because I don't want it over oiled. Just because I'm weird and I like a dry gun. I like my Glock dry, which is usually against the normal thinking, but ARs I like moist. I like it moist. That's always moist, actually. That's what she said. Had to toss that one in there, of course. But I like to run the AR wet because obvious reasons. It needs a little enticing, if you will. Especially if you're letting it sit for a while. Like, I don't shoot my AR all that often, so if I let it sit dry in my man cave here, then all that carbon, that fouling, that garbage, this gets really caked onto it. It really makes for a bitch in cleaning. So I like to run that wet, but everything else I like dry. And like I've said before, the oiling scheme on this is 3 in the slide, 2 on the barrel, and 1 drop in the trigger assembly of the gun. So basically I'll put drop and a drop, right? I'll take a piece of an athletic tank or a wife beater if you want to be an asshole about it, and I'll just kind of rub it through there a little bit. I might add some more. I might add like another drop towards the end here. Kind of get it in that rail, move it back and forth, but kind of cleaning out the excess. So it really only ends up being like a drop and a half because I'm removing some, as you can maybe see. Probably not though. So yeah, see, you got a little excess in there, so I'll get in there, kind of get that out. You can always use a light to kind of look in there. Now, I'm not over oiling this, I'm just making sure I can get it smooth, even, a nice even little line. And I'm really just kind of forcing it into there, to be honest with you. I kind of have my own little way of looking and seeing when it's good or not. So I add some, but then I remove more, and I add some and I remove some more. So that might be pretty good. Take one little corner again, slide it down, take it over here, that corner in there, slide it down. There we go. Then you're going to want to put one right inside there, because there's a lot of gunk and buildup that gets inside of that, but not too much. So you want to go back through and lightly just remove the excess. And put one on this front half of the barrel. Then you put one in the locking mechanism there, this little groove. And I like to rub that clean. Then go ahead and reinsert that. Recoil spring, keep that dry. Keep that dry. You can even dip it in alcohol to dry it out, but just watch out for that polymer, because it might hurt that polymer. So, slide. Pretty much all done. And then, inside of the trigger housing here, right by the connector, drop. That one I do not like really doing. It makes the trigger a little smoother, but I don't like putting it in there. And I loathe every time I actually do that, because it really kind of, actually, this isn't put together right, But yeah, I kind of loathe doing it because it's just something I don't feel really needs lube. But whatever. That's what they say to do, so I'll do it. It makes the trigger a little smoother, though, I will say that. So there's that at least. But yeah, really, I mean, you know, in summation, if you think you're not good enough to take a class, well, you're an idiot. And I don't mean that to be offensive, but just who do you think needs to take the classes? The really good guys, really professional, high-speed guys, or the average Joe who needs some more training in firearms? Well, obviously, it's the average Joe who needs some more training in firearms. So don't think that you're not good enough to take a class, because that's bullshit. I mean, that's ridiculous. Nobody's ever not good enough to take a class. And that's really it. So makes the trigger nice and smooth, makes everything all hunky-dunky. So that's really all I got, guys. I just kind of wanted to do a cleaning video, and it's kind of like a vlog almost. I might actually name this a vlog, because that's really what it is. It's more of just kind of me talking. And if you guys like hearing me talk, then you'll like this video. If you guys don't like hearing me talk, you think I'm an asshole, you won't like this video. So it's really simple as that. So hopefully you guys learned something out of this. Maybe you saw me do something when cleaning this that you didn't think to do before, or whatever. But I mean, that's really it. Like I said, this is going to be a long video, but I kind of wanted to start a vlog series. So actually, yeah, looking back, I'm going to call this the vlog number 1. So that's really all I got, guys. Make sure to keep your Glocks dry and keep shooting. I'll see you next time. Oh yeah, if you're going to the NRA annual meeting, feel free to come up to me, say hello. I want to meet all you guys. I'm kind of going there with no real purpose. I applied for a media pass, but I don't think I'm going to get it. I might have done it too late, so I'm just going to be walking around like a mental patient, trying to meet people, trying to get some free stuff and all that. So if you see me, come say hello, and I'll see you guys there.